protect the family.
Welcome back to the program, and I say back because this is a two-part series. Again, my name is Jesse Peterson, and I'm the president of an organization called BOND, and BOND is Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. And the purpose of BOND is to rebuild the black community by rebuilding the black man. And we're dealing with every aspect of the black community. I can clearly see, as I've always said, that we've failed and that something is wrong and that something is continually to go wrong. So we need to deal with it. We need to see what the problem is so that we can overcome it. And today we're dealing with the Muslim community. And I have with me Brother Wazir. Am I pronouncing that right?
Not exactly.
Okay, help me.
It's Wazir.
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 Okay, I do want to apologize again for being lame in that area.
Well, brother, most of us don't know Arabic.
All right.
And it's an Arabic name.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It means minister or a helper, a aider, or burden bearer. It means a representative of a king or government.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That sounds like, I wonder what Jesse Peterson means, other than being white. No, I'm just, a slave, that's my slave name, right? But let me, before I get into that, tell us a little bit about you, because some people didn't see the show last week.
Yes,
and I want them to understand who is speaking. So give us a little bit about your background.
Background.
And who you are now. You know what you know.
My name is Abdul Wazir Muhammad, and I'm the minister of Los Angeles Mosque number 27, and I'm the Western Regional Representative of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
Okay. Let me just ask this question. It just went through my mind when you explained to me what your last name meant. Did you have another name before that name? Slave, what they call a slave name?
Yes, sir. Before, all of us did.
Uh-huh.
We had the names of our slave master. If you were on the plantation and your name was Jesse, and you were on Mr. Smith's plantation, you would be Jesse Smith. If your sister was Jessie Mae, she would be Jessie Mae Smith. Like all the chickens on the farm, they would belong to Mr. Smith. Those were Mr. Smith's chickens. All the cows were Mr. Smith's cows. And all they said niggas or Mr. Smith's niggas. So they called him Smith by the name of the plantation owner or the slave master.
Can I ask you, can you tell me what was your name before that?
What was my name
your
before
slave
that?
Name.
I didn't know my name.
You didn't know your slave name?
I knew my slave name.
And what was that?
I don't care.
You don't want to mention it?
No, sir.
Did you feel better about yourself once you changed names? Did anything change in your life?
Well, what had changed to allow me to change my name was the fact that I knew that the name that I had was not my own. See, it's oftentimes a person may find themselves in a position where they don't know their name, but does not know that you don't know your name. That's something else. So when the light came to me that really this was a slave name that I was carrying, a white man's name, and I'm not white, then it was a matter of pride to get an X, which meant that I knew then that my origin in this world was unknown to myself. And then somebody could establish me back to the ties that made me be a civilized person.
Okay, you know, last week we talked about God and the relationship with Jesus and the Honorable Muhammad and all that. So this week, I want to move on to some other matters or other concerns that I have. And one being Minister Farrakhan.
Yes,
you know, the media always show him in a negative manner.
Yeah.
And I understand how the media work at times. I went to the forum here in Los Angeles once to see him. And at that time, he made a lot of sense about a lot of things. And then he spoke of white people being the devil. And I noticed that because at that time I had hate in my heart, but the hate was coming not only from society, but from my family as well, because of the failing of the mother and the father, and the hate that I had toward them, and the stuff I had gone through. And I noticed that when he mentioned the white people as being the devil and stuff, it encouraged the hate that was already in me, and it prevented me from looking at where the true hate started at. The hate started at. and society portray him as being evil because he do call white people the devil, and encourage the hate that's already in the black man's heart. Are we seeing that wrong? Are we seeing him wrong in what he's saying? And what does he mean when he say the white man is the devil? And what is that supposed to mean to us?
Let's start by the misconception of Minister Farrakhan that is given to the public by the media. He's portrayed as being something that his work does not bear witness to. That's to start with. If you were looking for an example, so that you could, in fact, be with God in the hereafter. If you were looking for an example of a man that you wanted to pattern yourself after in order to become a better man and a better person, I could find no better example that is present among us today than the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, because he's a father, a grandfather, and a very excellent one. He's a man that has dedicated all of his life to the service of the black community, and he has a record that the black community is aware of and was aware of long before the white community became aware of Brother Farrakhan. If I look at this man, I don't see blemish in him. If I look at him, I watch him, I try to pattern myself after him. I am reminded of what the Holy Quran says, that you have in the Messenger of Allah an excellent example for he that hopes in Allah and in the latter days. If you want to be here with God, then he's got to give you some kind of example. And if you look at Brother Farrakhan, you won't find where he's any of the things of evil that anybody has ever said about him. As a matter of fact, his morals are sublime. You can't find where he has done anything or said anything that caused black people to do any harm to white people. He lets us know the truth about how we have been treated, but you can't say he teaches hate, because how can you teach a Negro that had been brought to America, robbed, deaf, and dumb, and blind to the knowledge of himself, been beat by police, by the KKK, been disenfranchised, everything that you can think of evil has been done to us. And then if that didn't make us hate, how is he going to teach us to hate?
I think that, well, one of the problems that I had, and I think some people may mean it this way, and I could be wrong, I don't speak for everyone, but if you already have hate in your heart, and you don't know where that hate comes from, and then you go out and deal with society and you deal with depression because of the hate that's in the other man's heart, he try to hold you back, and that, and someone come along and say, well, it's the white devil, doesn't that encourage the hate that's there, and won't some people perceive it wrong and go out and take negative reactions to that?
Look at it this way. A man enslaves you, works you for 310 years without a payday, from sun up to sundown, from can't see to can't see, have you on the back of the plow as well as pulling the plow from the front like a horse. After 310 years, he so-called freed you, but then he doesn't give you back any of the things that he took from you to render you to a level where you are lower than a beast. Then after he so-called frees you, you're freed in word but not in deed, because you have nothing that you originally possessed. You find yourself a second-class citizen. You find yourself not knowing how you're going to feed your family. You find yourself with inferior feelings as a result of how he taught you. And then somebody points out to you that he taught you that, and you say that he's nourishing the hate that's in your heart. Hate is only emotion, and love is the same, and you need to apply it to the right place. Why would you, if I do you evil, love me for it? Or why, if I did you good, would you hate me for it? Black people in America, they love everything that the white man loves, and they hate everything that the white man hates, including their own black self, because they have a white mind. And if somebody points out to you that you're in error, and get a big white gorilla off your back, because that's what's wrong with black people today.
Let me get a little understanding of what you're saying right now. Are you saying that, yes, we did go through that, and I acknowledge that. So are you saying that we should hate them for that?
Brother, if their deeds don't make you hate them, why should something that I say bear witness to what you should do concerning what you see?
Mainly, I just want to get understanding, for myself and the audience. Are you saying that because we went through that, physical destruction,
That we should hate white people.
should we hate them?
Here's what we should do, brother. We should be so consumed with the need to love self that we won't have time to focus on what somebody else has to do as far as their connection with our life.
Right.
We should understand them. Once we understand them, then we should be able to work with them in such a way that we can get what is beneficial to ourselves and our kind. Let's accentuate the positive. Let's eliminate the negative. Let's think in terms of the power that is behind the universe that we live in. And that force or power that's behind the universe is love itself. But how can you love somebody else? Love and charity is the same thing. Now, when you look in the Bible and you're talking about love, it comes out charity. And charity begins at home and it spreads abroad. So let's love one another. Let's think about loving black people.
Can we love one another and hate white people?
I don't see why not, but that's not the issue.
No.
The issue is because we lack unity. And unity comes from love. When you see a man and a woman, when they begin to love one another, then they unite with one another. Everybody that you see on earth today, they love their own kind, so they unite with their own kind. You and I, when we get ready to unite, we unite with that which we love. And so we want to integrate instead of uniting.
Yeah, let me, because I don't want to hold on to this too long because there's so many other things I want to ask.
Yes, sir.
Isn't love the ability to forgive your enemy?
Love, by definition, is so encompassing. I would say that it's giving a person the right and the room and the help that would allow them to fulfill the aim and purpose that God has created them for.
And can we do that without forgiving? Because, and the reason I say that, I notice that now in my life, that when I forgive my enemy, it doesn't affect my soul, my true me. It doesn't matter what a person do to you physically. They can do anything they want to this whole body. And the only way that they can get to you if you hate them for it. If you resent your enemy for what he or she does to you, that's the only way that they can control you. And I can clearly see that one reason that we're being controlled by the white man is because of what they did and we resent them for it. Because I notice that whenever if I hated you right now for what you're saying to me, you can control me. You can be gone. You can be dead and still in control of me. It's because I hate my enemy. And I think that, and I believe firmly without a doubt, the only way that we're going to overcome the white man or any man is to forgive our enemy. Because if you don't, they'll continually control you. And that's what I don't understand about your message, Minister Farrakhan, and a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, to encourage a man to hate another man, he will constantly control you.
Well,
is that true?
First of all, to say that Minister Farrakhan encourages you to hate.
I'm trying to understand. I'm not saying.
I understand that.
I want to get now is the real truth.
Okay.
So I'm saying it so that whoever's looking at this program, they could get the same understanding from you. And so that's what I'm wondering. What do he mean by the white devil, and should we hate the white devil?
God, let's use scripture. God does not love his enemy. From what I read in the Bible, it says God comes in the last days to push the enemy into a lake of fire. Mm-hmm. The picture that you get of Jesus coming in the last days is as an avenger. They see him coming in the clouds with great power and great glory. And it says that the evil, that they were weeping and moaning and gnashing their teeth because they saw what he had on his mind when he came. They talk about the blood that is spilled by God himself as so bad that the way they can tell it to you is like a man walking, crushing grapes like in a wine press, just blood all over the place because he's destroying his enemies, the wicked. Now, that's not what I'm saying. That is what you and I should be thinking in terms of. We're not thinking in terms of an enemy. We're thinking in terms of what is the right thing for us to do to be protected as we go about in our relationship with other people. Now, you should forgive a robber, but not if it emboldens him to continue to steal. Listen, if a man steals your coat, forbid him not to take your cloak. So he gets your coat, he gets your cloak, then he steals your car, your house, your mind, your wife, and everything else. So bottom line is, I'm saying you can forgive 70 times 70. But if every time you forgive, then it emboldens the robber or the wrongdoer to continue to doing that wrong, then that doesn't make much sense.
Okay.
If God didn't forgive us, then we would be in bad shape. And we should try to be godlike, so therefore we should be forgiven. But don't be so forgiving that every time you forgive, it just makes a person stronger and stronger in their evil.
Let me just say this, because we're going to break. I'm sorry to cut you
Yes,
off. Real quick, the one thing I noticed about forgiving, when I forgive my enemy, I become stronger and wiser, and I can deal with my enemy, and my enemy don't have any power. But it seems as though when I judge my enemy for what he's doing to me, he has the power, and I become weak. So there is power in forgiveness, if it's true forgiveness. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay. I'll take that back to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
that'll
Good,
be
good.
good. And then I know
He's going to have to take his quick
won't
break
be under-
while
I
we're
won't-
doing that.
I won't be under pressure.
That's right.
Bond, the brotherhood organization of a new destiny. Rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man.
Welcome back to the program. Let's talk about your purpose, what you do, and what are some of the things you're doing to enhance the black man's life, and in return, enhancing the community life, the family and the community.
Let me say this, brother. Your organization, Bond.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that?
That's
yeah.
what I want to talk about.
Okay,
I want
sure.
to talk about it in this sense. The key to the philosophy or the concept of Bond is that restoring of the black man is what is your aim and purpose, because you feel like if you do that, you'll restore the community.
I can see that clearly.
And if you could look at the work of Jesus, when he came, Lazarus was dead, but Lazarus had sisters, so they weren't dead.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus raised Lazarus up, and the question or the statement was made by one of the sisters, says, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Now, listen, if Jesus had been on the scene with the light, the wisdom, the truth, then the man would not have been dead, and the woman would not have been left there unprotected.
Mm-hmm.
The Holy Quran teaches us that man and woman are twin halves of a single being. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that 75% of his work was with the woman. So now, if bad is saying restore the man, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says if we're going to try to restore the man, we have to first of all restore the woman, because every one of us here knows that the hand that rocks the cradle shapes the future of the civilization, and the men that are here have been mothered by a woman who is your first teacher. So if you don't deal with the woman first, you can't expect your nation to rise. A nation can rise no higher than its woman.
Really?
Now,
You
how
know-
can it if the mother is the one that shapes the values? When you see homosexuals, 9 times out of 10, those homosexuals have been made like that because of an attitude that the woman had.
Right.
Listen to me good.
That's right.
Maybe the father is ignorant and treats the woman wrong. Or maybe he just leaves her with a burden of raising a child without returning the kind of love that she had to carry his life for 9 months and then go through pain to bring it to birth, and then he not show any consideration for that pain, just walk off and leave what he dropped. Then that could be negative in the woman's mind, and if she raises that child up knowing that that man child is there is really the man that she has had to father mother this child for. So therefore, the hatred that she has for the man, she teaches it to the child. She destroys the male in this man.
That's right.
Instead of developing
That's
it.
right.
So you can't
That's right.
raise up the black man until you raise up the black woman. As a matter of fact,
Okay, let me just interject on
Yes,
that
sir.
one point.
Mhm.
The part that I disagree with you on is the fact that you're saying that you can't raise up the man until you raise up the woman. Speaking of God or Jesus being, when they said if you had come back, he wouldn't have died if you had been here. See, God is on the scene right now in man. He's within he's within us right now, And I clearly see that what the black man need to do, all men really, but particularly the black man, is to come back to that light, which is God, within him, so that he can show him how to deal with the woman and how to deal with situations. One thing that has happened is that, and I was walking through the Crenshaw Mall yesterday, and they have an art show there right now. And I noticed that as I walked through the mall, everybody got pictures of women. I mean, African women, American women, all artists. I mean, there's thousands of pictures of women. And all of a sudden I realized, why do they have all these pictures of these women? Where are the men? Where are the honorable fathers that they love? Why they don't show them? So I began to ask, and they got mad at me, I have to tell you. But I began to ask, how come you drawing a woman? Why don't you draw a man? Where's your father? Well, I love my mama. Or they say, well, I love women, and I love my mama. And so they're demoralizing the value of man. I'm clear that the power lies within the man. When God created man in his image, he gave the power and authority to him. But because we've been raised by women, and the hate, the secret hate that women have for men, and the jealousy that they have for the relationship between God and man, because of the God that they serve, they are unawarely, or maybe even aware, keeping man away from God. They know not what they do. And until man realizes that he has that woman nature that has been imposed upon him by mama, or whatever female that he's been raised by or brought him up, he would never overcome. He got to see that it's a woman nature that he's operating in, which is out of order, so that he could repent by forgiving, and God would change his nature. And when man changed, then our family would change, and our community would change. The power is in the man, and the enemy knows that, and he's doing everything he can, especially in our community, to keep us away from it.
Yes.
But it's in the man.
I agree with you in this sense. The Holy Quran speaks about Pharaoh killing the boy and saving the women. Now that's what's been done to us. There was a process by which, but you need to not fall into a trap because of what you see manifested without getting an understanding of how things are done. We used to sing a song, "Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child a Long Ways from Home." That's a song that will bring tears to the eyes of any black person in America, and they may not know why they're crying. But what happened was, when we were brought to America, they let the man and the woman get together, reproduce a child, and then they took the child away and didn't let the mother teach it. That's why we don't know our mother tongue, because mother's the one that teaches you your language.
Right.
That's why we don't have mother wit. Mother wit is common sense. We didn't have a mother to teach us what's common to the man of mind. I want you to listen real
right.
good, because this is the way that all the problems that we have are on us right now, and this is the thing that's really separated us from an understanding of God. See, your mother is your first teacher. She's your first nurse, and she's also the first manifestation of the power of God and the love of God. Everything that you know of God, you experience it, first of all, through the mother. For an example, a child has more faith than you and I do, because when they're born, they come into a world that is hostile to them. They come out of a warm bag of water, and they're born, and they don't even know how they're going to get their next meal. The thing that they do is they cry. The first thing that a baby does is, I'm hungry and I'm crying. I want something to eat. Now that cry is a prayer.
I don't want to cut you off, but we sort of running out of time. So
okay, crying is a prayer.
This guy is jumping up and down over here.
Yes,
so make your point so we can get on.
Okay, crying is a prayer on the form of a baby that is saying, God, feed me. God has already fed him, because he's already provided the milk that that baby needs in the breast of the mother.
Let me explain something. Let me respond to something you just said.
Yes.
The reason I laughed when you said that sometimes I feel like a mother's child, and we all want to cry. And I laugh because I remember when I used to hear that song, I used to want to cry behind it too. And I realize now I really did feel like a mother's child, because the mama spirit that was in me. Because I noticed that whenever you are emotional like that, it is the nature of the woman. It's that nature. Because see, what happened when you're resentful, and you're right, we do go through a lot of traumas when we first come into the earth, right, into the world. But that first trauma started with the mother, because of the weakness of the father. That's our first trauma. And it began to, we began to resent that trauma, and we began to hate the person that does that to us, because as kids, you don't know not to hate. So we hate mama for the trauma that she's imposed upon us, and we fall away from what is right, we fall away from grace, we fall away from God, and we wake up to mama, and we become like mama, emotional and doubtful and all that, and that comes from hate. So we do go through a lot of trauma. And I think that is a mistake, and I can see clearly it's a mistake that we have made in the black community, is to give that responsibility to the woman. She don't have it. She don't know how to do
Let me
it.
say one thing.
That mother's love will actually destroy a man. And if you look around our community, you can see it all the time.
Let me
Men
say
are
this
like
before
women.
we run out of time.
Yeah.
The highest form of civilized or man is the messenger of God or the prophet of God. Now, if you look in Scripture, the prophet of God is styled as a woman. That's the symbol that is used to describe the prophet. Just like a woman suffers pain to bring forth a physical baby, the prophet of God or the messenger of God goes through pain to bring forth a nation that is for God. The highest manifestation of the love of God is in mother. If you want to know what God's love is like, then you see a woman go into a burning building to get her child. Daddy don't run in there. Mama's the one that breaks in there to go get that child, regardless of the flame, because the love that she has from carrying the child and going through the pain to bring it to birth is akin to the love of God.
Do you think that daddy don't run in there because mama has taken away daddy's, in his childhood, ability to be a man, and because mama has that desire to be man or be God, so she run in there and do it? Is that possible?
What you're saying in so many words, brother, is that the chauvinism that males have that feel like they need to dominate women, and they do dominate according to their nature, but not in an unfair way.
Okay, it's
and
not
what you're
domination.
saying is that is coming from women, where really, brother, you need to look at the one who put our woman in the condition while you and I were asleep.
Okay, it's not domination. It's when you love the truth, it's walking by the light. It's not your power, but it's the power of God that's in you. We out of time. I really do appreciate you today. I learned a lot, and I hope that you guys have. I hope that the audience, even though you didn't say anything, can we just get my audience on there real quick before we leave? Look at them, real quick, shine it on them. All right. Okay, come back to me. Yes, sir.